Today I'm platinuming Ratchet Clank into the Nexus. 23 trophies, 4 stages, sort of, no time to waste. Stage 1 is playing the game on the hardest difficulty, Legend. Ratchet & Clank are escorting this bad girl Vendra Prog to jail for trying to off the CEO of a company of questionable repute. After some ship repairs, oh look, the plumber's back, and a quick appearance from Ratchet's girlfriend that I'm sure will last, things go south very quickly and Goth Baddie is woken up from cryosleep and obviously gets super cranky, super relatable, which causes things to go haywire. There's a brief game of Kill the Lombax, which I win because I'm just awesome. Gothita from Pokemon though has a twin brother, Neftin Prog, and this guy's got backup in the form of Thugs for Less, which I'm pretty sure I got rid of in Ratchet & Clank Going Commando. So round 2 of Kill the Lombax begins, and this time I lose, repeatedly. Yeah, rude awakening time. The first section is hard as hell for a Ratchet & Clank game. I have access to only 1 or 2 weapons. They're level 1, they do pitiful damage, and ammo is in pretty short supply here. I died a few times, but there's a massive saving grace in the form of weapon and nanotech experience carrying over after every death. But after this spaceship section, the game gets much easier, and honestly, that doesn't sit right with me. Hard should, stay hard. Ship goes boom and the dastardly duo exit stage left. I barely make it out, jumping from debris to debris as Thugs for Less goons continue to try and blast me out of space, and I latch onto the mercenary leader's ship for the first trophy of the run. On planet Yarrick, Ratchet relays the bad news to his girlfriend. Also, apparently some robots that I'm supposed to care about died in that explosion, I'm not sure. And it's time to go runaway hunting. Turns out this is the bad guy's home planet and it's haunted. Ooh. There's a new gadget in this game, the Grav Tether, which basically creates streams between 2 targets, allowing Ratchet & Clank to move across chasms, and honestly, this thing is super neat. It even has its own soundtrack. I also pick up the Nightmare Box, and the source of the only technically missable trophy in the entire game, as I have to use it to scare the bejesus out of every single enemy, including bosses. Oh yeah, and there's no way to track which enemies I'm missing, just how many I've scared. So I'm going to have to use this liberally every time I even think a new enemy has appeared, and, hope for the best. I tracked down Pollux, the evil CEO Vendra tried to kill, and he reveals that the place isn't haunted but overrun with nethers, other dimensional beings who may or may not be looking to invade this dimension. He upgrades Clank so that he can fix nether rifts, and it's time for the first Clank section of the game. Yay! This time round though, they're 2D puzzles where I get to manipulate gravity to move Clank and other objects about, smack a nether on the head, and then escape before it can eat me. Simple in design and really well executed. It's tons of fun to do. Anyways, after healing a few rifts, scaring a boss, and a few more unnecessary deaths because this is a Ben Hunt's Trophies video, I track down the Wonder Twins, who turn out to be orphans, have built a budget dimensionator of their own, a device which does exactly what you think it does, and have a not so imaginary friend, a massive nether named Mr. I, who definitely isn't the big bad nether leader manipulating the 2 of them at all. No. After Ratchet & Clank are spotted, because the thing is a massive eye, duh, of course he saw them, the 2 make a heroic escape, after dying a few more times that is. I also paid a visit to the Thugs for Less goons, and to thank them for destroying my ship, I cut their workforce in half. And then half again. And all I got was an infobot for a destination of death and destruction with a self-described oddly specific prize on the line. Uh-oh, the game's becoming self-aware. Destructopalooza serves as the arena battles for this game, and as always the challenges don't disappoint. The boss from Yarrick serves as the final bronze boss, except it's now yellow instead of red, and accompanied by tons of thugs who just won't mind their own business. Like all Ratchet & Clank bosses though, it's all about using weapons to whittle down its health to 0, winning Clank a jetpack and me a trophy. At Psylocke, Vendra goes full emo on me and moans about the fact that other people had the audacity to have parents. I continue mowing down mercenaries with great ease. I absolutely did not get stuck on the same sub-boss for 15 minutes, and then after some really satisfying grav tether puzzle solving, surviving wave after wave after wave of what I can only describe as the Ratchet & Clank version of a bullet hell, flying around like one of those aquajet pack dudes and splunking in the sewers, it's time to take on Neftin, the bigger, badder and much, much dumber brother. All brawn, no brain. Fight's really simple. Stage 1, bully the musclehead by scaring the crap out of him, pew-pewing him with my pistol and buzzing him with my buzzsaws. Stage 2, annihilate the Thugs for Less goons jumping from the trains like absolute morons. Stage 3, bully the musclehead even harder until he falls over. Despite winning, I'm too late to stop the emo chick from summoning a bunch of purple people eaters into the good guys dimension, and Mr. I thanks her bye to the shock of absolutely no one who happens to be blessed with a brain cell, betrays said emo chick and banishes her to the Shadow Realm. Oh no, who could have possibly seen that one coming? After a great escape, the dynamic duo team up with the dumbass brother and head to Thram. Before that though, it's time for a collectathon. The smuggler makes his triumphant return and I have to relieve these massive horned things of their, well, horns in exchange for some goodies. I collected 10 for some hover boots that may or may not have previously belonged to Ratchet in a crack in time, and after some faffing around, used them to meet up with Neftin in his not so super secret hideout. We come up with an ironclad plan to get his sister back by committing grand larceny and stealing the real Dimensionator. Yeah, what could possibly go wrong? The shaky alliance is confirmed in return for Tall, Dark and Gruesome handing himself and his sister in afterwards for a trophy. Time for the final planet of the game. Wait, what? Yeah, this is a short game, just like Ratchet is this chick's short king. Anyway, before the finale, there's a brief tour through the Intergalactic Museum of History, including another epic battle against the Bio-Obliterator from Up Your Arsenal, as well as some interesting interpretations of the events of previous Ratchet & Clank games. I grab the Dimensionator, and Mr. I gets Mr. Mad and lays siege in a last gasp attempt to claim the dimension. With no time to waste, I clear the city of these massive nether brutes with little trouble. Well, almost little trouble anyway. It took me a bit longer than I'm willing to admit, simply because these spawning points, and these can really overwhelm you if not dealt with properly. I found out the hard way. Anyway, eventually it was time for the final showdown. First things first though, I needed to use the nightmare box to scare Mr. I. The big moment of truth to see if I had scared them all. Thank God for that. I can now focus on the fight. Every time I emptied all my ammo into the massive damage sponge and depleted some of the big eyeball's health, it was time for a Clank section, because of course it was. 2 of them in fact. The first one was easy, the second one though, not so much. I just kept on dying here. I was really struggling with the tight turns and the fact that I had to hurry up because dinner was ready. That's a true story, by the way. Once I got fed up with embarrassing myself on the internet for all to see, I eventually made it out of the final Clank section, saving Wednesday Addams for a trophy. And then it was time to face down the Nether Leader one more time. If I concentrate and don't take damage unnecessarily like that, or like that, I should be okay. Oh dear. Luckily, even on the hardest difficulty, the checkpoints for the final boss are generous, and I just had to repeat the final phase. Eventually, after some pig-headed determination, and finding the on switch for my brain, I finally poked the eye hard enough to take it down. The siblings put that thing back where it came from, Pugsley Adams upholds his end of the bargain, and roll credits. And 3 more trophies for completing the game on Cadet, Hero and Legend. With that done, it's time to enter Stage 2, Operation Cleanup. Before that though, I turn the difficulty right down to Cadet as my difficulty obligations are fulfilled, which is a good thing because I need to beat the Pest Control Challenge at the Destructopalooza with just the Omni-Wrench. And the irrational side of me is convinced that this is only possible on Cadet mode thanks to the increased damage and time limit. So any potential guilt I may have had about lowering the difficulty was instantly wiped away. I'm not even remotely sorry. I then proceeded to tear through the rest of Destructopalooza, making sure to level up any weapons that haven't hit level 3 yet, the cap for a first playthrough before I can upgrade them in challenge mode. Shout out to the Mangler levels for keeping me on my toes instead of letting me mindlessly and mercilessly slaughter all goons before me. I gouged a Gargantuan for the Silver Cup, and neutralized Neftin bot to take home the gold. Next up, the rest of the collectibles. First are the gold bolts, which actually serve a functional purpose in this game, in that each weapon requires one gold bolt in order to be upgraded, similar to the very first Ratchet & Clank game, which is a really nice callback. As I'm doing this, I'm also making sure I'm collecting all the Rhino 7 holoplans, 2 birds, 1 stone and all that. Oh yeah, and during all these collectathon shenanigans, I came across a bug on Psylocke where the sewers glitched out and remained shut even after reactivating the 3 main switches on my return visit. QA testers are never beating the allegations. I just had to reload the game and I got in eventually. Finally, on Thram, I collected 30 more horns through collection and condemnation to boot up a jetpack station to access the rest of the map. The Map-O-Matic I won from the Destructopalooza makes this ridiculously easy. I paused my horn hunting to take a detour to Iglak and picked up the 12th and final gold bolt for a gold trophy. How poetic. Back to Thram, where my next step was to collect the 5 vault keys in order to open, a vault. But wait, I hear you cry, the graphic in the corner clearly states that I need 6 vault keys. Yeah, don't worry about it. As I was doing this, I picked up my 200th piece of Raritanium. Did I mention Raritanium? It's used to upgrade weapons, not that special or rare. I hover around the map and excavate the rest of the horns with the same ruthless efficiency that I upload Platinum Trophy videos every Monday, 9 AM Eastern. And hand them in to the trader for a bucket load of bolts and the 6th vault key. See, I told you not to worry about it. I free the plumber from his metal prison for 1 trophy and hand him all the Rhino plans in exchange for the best weapon in the entire game, before proceeding to buy the final weapon from Goblinette, the Warmonger, for another trophy. With all that said and done, it was time for Stage 3, New Game Plus, aka Challenge Mode, another Ratchet & Clank staple. I have a few things to focus on here, starting with picking up as many bolts as possible whilst retaining the bolt multiplier. Well, to the best of my ability anyway. Collecting my 1 millionth bolt over the course of the game earned me a trophy. My next objective during challenge mode was to get my weapons to level 6. Really easy this one. Once a weapon hits level 3, I simply handed over some bolts of the normal variety and 1 gold one to get the Omega variant at level 4, then get that to 6. Doing this for the first time got me going commando. 1 down, 12 to go. Because the game is so short, I found myself at the end again about 4 hours later. Yeah, I know that's not exactly a speed run, but I was doing all the optional stuff as well in order to really squeeze out as many bolts and as much experience as I could out of one playthrough. I beat the game in challenge mode by poking Mr. I in the eye one last time for a trophy. At this point, I had a choice. I could either do the Destructopalooza Platinum Cup that becomes available in challenge mode over and over again to pick up the remaining bolts and experience required for the weapons and armor, or I could start a new game plus and pick up a truck ton of experience by playing the story again and not get bored to tears of doing the same thing over and over and over and over. You get the point. Surprisingly though, it wasn't until the final planet where I had to take on the Bio Obliterator once more that I upgraded the 12th and final weapon, the Rhino 7, to complete the grind. Wait, did I say complete the grind? Nope, I still had to buy the final piece of armor because I'm just a poor boy, nobody loves me. Well, some of you do, that's why you're still here. I appreciate you. So I went round the final area, killing interdimensional baddies one last time, and saving a Metropolis for what felt like the 194th time this series. And finally, 18 gameplay hours after the whole thing started, I picked up the final armor upgrade that I'll never ever use for Armored and Dangerous and the Pride of Fastoon Platinum Trophy. Thanks for watching. Go left for the whole Ratchet & Clank experience so far, or go right to see what the YouTube gods are offering you today. See you next week for Ratchet & Clank, the game based on the movie based on the game. And I have opinions.